two main variables that affect the way the golf ball flies in terms of the accuracy. You've got your club path and your club face angle. It is a common misconception that players believe the path is or has the most influence over the starting direction of the golf ball, but it's actually the club face.
Absolutely.
So if you are slicing and you're simply just trying to come more from the inside to straighten it up, you're just going to hit big block cuts, right? Now, there are variances where that might help you stay back and helps with the release, but it would be a band-aid fix. And what we do want to do is be aware of the club face throughout the swing and what we would need to do to close that club face, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So when we're looking to try and close the club face from the golf swing, I'm going to put most of my, or all of our majority of our focus of attention in regards to my hands, my wrists, and my forearm orientation. And they've got the closest relationship to this club, and they play the biggest impact on it. So I have some kind of key checkpoints I'd like to show you throughout the golf swing, where the golfer might be getting a little bit stuck and kind of lost throughout it. So a lot of it, people are trying to close it here through the takeaway position. So what we might see, Kerrod, is here, people all understand here at P2, so club shaft level of the ground, we see this spine angle here, right, in line with the leading edge there. Now, how we get there, right, is I want to make sure that people are getting there through the correct movements here. So I like to feel a little bit of trail wrist extension. So my trail hand moving this way here, and my trail forearm is going to stay a little bit more on top there, because the mistake we'll see with the golfer who gets it, like that's the mistake there, Kerrod. See how it's going under and rolling that way. Now I want to try and feel that I'm just moving that trail hand a little bit back into there, and see how my right arm there is on top of that left arm there. So if you just put a club down put that shaft along the forearms there, Kerrod, that way. So that's what I mean when I say on top, not underneath here. So that's the checkpoints there for getting to club shaft level to the ground. We want to feel that, yes, that club face there is in line with my spine angle, but you want to make sure you're getting it through the correct forearm orientation there. Would you agree?
Yeah, correct. And if you're a player who is opening and fanning the club face very early in the backswing, if you set up to that golf ball for me, Tobes, there is generally going to be a lot of hand and arm manipulation early. But if you put the club behind the ball, and what I want you to do is almost just feel like you can have a little bit of right wrist hinge as you go back, but feel like your arms aren't doing that much. And I just use your body as the engine. We're going to see that the golf club is going to set in a pretty reasonable position, right? As long as we're not locking this out, it's kind of just nice and relaxed. We'll see we're definitely getting into a position where the right arm is staying more on top in this takeaway position. Now from here, Tobes, we would see players, even if they got this position, they could very easily start to like lift and roll and hands go out. It might be because their bodies stop turning, but also this excessive manipulation of the hands and arms. So talk about if players were to get the checkpoint of takeaway here, a feel to then build a better backswing to the top, that would keep the face closed.
And I think what's really good here, and I want the viewers here to kind of understand, is that we need to work out when the club face is getting too open for you. So if you're looking to try and close in the backswing, when is it happening? Is it happening in the takeaway? Is it happening when you're moving into, lead arm level to the ground? Is it happening at the top through the transitional aspect? So once you work through these checkpoints right, then you can start to figure out which one you need to focus on. Obviously we can't do them all at once in the golf swing. We'd have one of the slowest backswings known to mankind. But let's move into lead arm level to the ground to here, right? Now, once again, what I'm going to see, I'm just going to talk about my trail hand. It's moved into, the wrist there has moved into extension, so it's bending back by this point in time. Now if I'm looking to close it more, and the camera there, I'd say face your palm to the camera. Makes sense? That's the wrist orientation there. And by that point in time there, I'm going to show you from face on here, Kerrod, is that when you're at left arm level, is just making sure that right forearm is slightly on top of my left. See that there?
Yeah, so same sort of, or continuation of that feel that we had early on. Feeling like we can have a little bit of this backwards right wrist hinge here as we rotate the chest through that first section, continue rotating the chest to the top. And if you find that the face is starting to open, what Toby's just saying here is you can get the sensation. I like the feeling of the palm pushing up against the thumb, which will tend to add a little bit more flex to this lead wrist here. But in space, because I've been using my upper body to get to that position, we'll see that right arm is still very much on top of the left there.
On top, and what's not on top? is that kind of look we see there.
Yeah.
People get it pinned and stuck in. Yeah. And then I want you guys to think about, if that is there pinned, to get it there, what's happened is I've had a lot of, we call this supination, but it's rotating, right?
Yeah.
And you look at what's happening to my club when I'm doing that, that the club face is invariably getting open and my palm is now looking towards me. So no matter what I'm trying to do with that palm, if my forearm is rotating, they need to be working together. So that checkpoint for left arm level to the ground is absolutely the palm looking back towards the camera, right? Show me everything you've got, is what I would say. And making sure from the face on camera here that that trail arm is slightly more on top. And if you're someone who is open here and you've got that underneath, you might find that you've got that trail arm too flexed this way here. We want to try and keep it like that position there. So that's a really great way to see if that is the section when you start to launch the club up in the backswing, if you're losing it through that area there.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so set up to the ball again.
Yep.
Now, from there, I would say that it's very unlikely, if you've built a really good backswing by this stage, by lead arm to the top, you're going to have much manipulation. So I want to fast forward down to what players would do in the transition that could open it up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of players would try and come from the inside by maybe dragging that elbow in, right? Thinking that that's going to help them hit a draw, but we can see that the face really just opens up like a pancake, doesn't it?
Looks like a bunker shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say to people all the time, is that you'll see like at the top of the backswing or there, like their wrists look like, it's like, you're like hitting a bunker shot. No wonder your 8-iron goes like a pitching wedge, right? Like, so you're actually hitting it quite far, you know, but you just got the club face so open. So from that position at the top of the backswing, right? So if we go, yes, we're organized ourselves by here, we go up and then we're coming down. What I'm trying to actually feel is I'm just extending at the right elbow joint. I'm lowering that right arm and I'm trying to actually get my hand to look back down towards the ground.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Does that make sense to you there?
Yeah, so do one more from lead arm parallel in the backswing, okay, and then to the top and then swing down. And so once again, the feeling of that pressure of the back palm there, kind of facing out towards the camera, is allowing this lead arm to unload back in front of the chest, and that face at the same time to stay in a strong orientation. And by the time that we get to this checkpoint, we want to see that this club face really, in reality, very similar to how we would like it in the takeaway, is going to be matching somewhat of your spine angle, and then from there, it's very easy to keep it passive through the ball. You certainly don't want it toe up by that stage, because then you have to manipulate.
Yes.
Now, just one quick word here in terms of understanding the importance of grip and how that affects. Now, this whole video is very positional throughout, talking about the club face, and there are a lot of matchups, but if you're a recreational golfer and you're slicing it a lot, first point of contact to look at is the grip. But we're talking about throughout the swing, if your grip is functional, then how these little movements can start to manipulate the face to get it open, and essentially from there encourage you to then strengthen the face at the moment of impact.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you're a person who's slicing it, you clicked on the video, the club face is way too open, right? You need to somehow get your head around what a closed club face feels like.
Yeah.
So I have no problem at all. Don't worry about the swing direction. If you come to me and say, Toby, I'm hitting every single golf ball left, that's great.
Yeah.
Now I can start working your swing direction, and I like you to cross the bridge, come over, feel like what it feels like to have a closed face, and then let's start bringing it back a little bit. But until you don't understand what it feels like to have a closed face, then we'll never get there. So you get them just to jump over, cross it, feel it, and then start to work from there. Okay,
perfect. So let's do an exaggeration drill here, Tobes.
Yep.
I feel like we've talked a lot about how this back wrist should move throughout the swing. So I'm going to get the feeling on this one of really pushing down on that thumb through the entirety of the motion. And as I do so, this right arm naturally is going to stay more on top. The face is going to stay towards the camera a lot more. And I'm going to hit a really, really slow shot here, exaggerating the feeling of pushing that palm down on the thumb throughout the entirety of the swing there. Just feels so compressed off the face.
Yes, and just go back to that position again for me there, if you can. Take that right hand off, right, like you just did here before. Now, great, let's just trace it. So it's looking down, looking back to the camera, looking up to the sky, looking back down, looking back to the camera, and going down that way there. The golfer who's getting this incorrect is going to start seeing this here. Start giving themselves a bit of a high five and a slap in the face when I want that to be going and pushing away at all times.
Thanks for watching this video. YouTube thinks that you would benefit from watching this one next. So click that card and it could be the tip that you need to take your game to the next level. I'll see you next time.